Here we have just a remarkable, well-worked, beautifully pressure-flaked, beautifully etched volcanic glass, likely Clovis, story stone face and mammoth effigy from Mount Shasta, California. This was dug on Lady Nellie Thompson's Mount Shasta property in the late 60s, where many of these volcanic glass specimens were found in a Paleolithic offering field. And we know that these face and mammoth effigies, imaging two human faces, one young and one old, and imaging two mammoths or proboscideans, one young and one old, was a worldwide tradition. I have examples of these effigies from all around the world, from every continent except Antarctica, and I have traced them all the way back to Homo habilis. So there was a mammoth tradition or mammoth worship or some type of mammoth creation story that had to do with mammoth worshiping worldwide for 2 million years until the time the mammoth died out, about 11,000 years ago. So in the early Archaic, you will not find any of these flaked and etched story stones at all. You won't find any paleo story stones in the early Archaic. Once the mammoth died out, the tradition died out, their god died out, they no longer made and offered these effigies. So when you see paleo etching on flake stone, or you see etching, patterned etching on flake stone, you'll know immediately that it is paleo in age. And so we have that mammoth, that mature mammoth is such a great image there with its eye up here and its big sweeping trunk looking off to the right, and the hair engraved back here. And we'll see that in just a minute. When we turn it this way, now we have the baby mammoth image with its little trunk right here and its massive hair tuft above its head, now facing left. Beautiful stone. And then when we hold it this way, wow, what they did here was they actually grooved that eye out. That eye has been completely grooved out of there by our Paleo-Indian friends to make the eye of the human face right here with the nose over here and the open mouth down here, which is the younger upturned nose facing off to the right. Eye, nose, and mouth facing off to the right. And then the older face with the bigger droopy nose over here, using this as the eye facing off to the left. And then all the hair engraved above the head. Now, most of that engraving is on the other side of the stone, which we'll see in a minute. But there is some engraving right here as well. And that is engraving. That's not ripples, flaking ripples or anything of the sort. That's actually been engraved into the stone. And when we see these on the other side, it is really something. And you look at all the beautiful pressure flaking that went into forming the perimeter of this piece to make the mammoth perimeter facing right, the mature mammoth now facing left. And look at those engraving lines. Those lines were cut into the stone. They're actually cut into, they're engraved. These are engraving lines. And they're beautifully executed. Look how patterned they are, all the way down. Oh, yes, and they're different size, of course. They make them a different size, but that is some heavy duty. That has nothing to do with flaking ripples, nothing to do with the natural stone. What they did was they flaked it and then they engraved it. And that's common on Paleolithic flake stone material when we have paleo story stone face and mammoth effigies. Just outstanding. And then we have, look at all that beautiful pressure flaking to form the perimeter now of the mature mammoth facing off to the left. And then we have the faces here. This has been flaked big time for the eye. And that's the upturned nose with the open mouth and all the hair up on top of the head etched out like that. Unbelievable patterned etching like that. And this is not uncommon though. You can find it on obsidian, and when you do find a patterned etching on obsidian, then you know you have a Paleolithic artifact. But you'll find it on rose quartz crystal, you'll find it on citrine crystal, you'll find it on meteorites, you'll find it on all kinds of stone. The Paleo-Indians were masterful at etching and engraving stone, like this stone, this naturally occurring volcanic glass. That young face facing off with the open mouth, and then the bigger drooping nose over here looking off to the right, and all the hair up on the head. Oh, it's a beautifully executed piece. That eye is just outstanding, the workmanship in engraving that. See, it's a lot of little lines that they had to take out all that material. So that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work in paleo times to, and I have a set of long wand crystals from, they're amethyst long, very 6-inch long. They call them wand crystals from South America, and I'll be doing a video on those. I believe all of them exhibit wear on the tips and on some of the edges, and I believe that they were actually the etching tools to make these kind of etching lines on this volcanic glass and on obsidian, which is different than this, which is way different than this kind of volcanic glass. But again, in the more section underneath this video, it'll give you a complete description of this wonderful volcanic glass and a link to the actual scientific spreadsheet showing you the exact atomic structure of this volcanic glass. And there'll be a link to that as well from the geology test performed at the Stephen F. Austin State University in Texas. And look at all that wonderful pressure flaking. Folks, that's Clovis. That's borderline. I mean, it's like Folsom as well. I mean, that is Clovis all the way down. Look at that, all the way around the perimeter to form this wonderful Paleo story stone, face and mammoth effigy, dug by Lady Nellie Thompson on her Mount Shasta property in the late 60s. And just a fantastic, beautiful specimen.